Hi guys, I'm Bruce with G, and I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do in order for your Xiao to be as strong as possible on day one. Alright, so in order for you to level up your Xiao to level 90, you're gonna need 419 hero weights. 420 if you want it. And also you're gonna need 1.7 million more, which is a lot. And this is just for leveling. I'm saying leveling because now we have the price for ascension. Ascending your character to the max level is gonna cost you 420 more. There's a lot of 420 here. And also these materials, you're gonna need 18 slime condensate, 30 slime secretions, 36 slime concentrate. It's not really that much if you really like farm every once in a while. Like I have a lot of them because I have my personal route, which is like a laser route. I'll show it later on another video. But with that, I have been able to actually level up all of my characters, so I think it's a great idea. Anyways, that's what you need for monster materials. And then you're going to require a new material that is called Juvenile Jades, which is going to be dropping from the new boss that's going to be coming out on 1.3. You're going to need 168 Xing. I will recommend you that you go and search for one good route on YouTube. There's a lot of them. And also you're going to need 1 green silver, 9 green fragments, 9 green chunks, and 6 green gems. So also you don't really have to worry that much about this. Maybe you have a lot of other ones. And since in this new update, we're going to be getting the whole transmutation material stuff, maybe you have another gem from another element and you're going to be able to transmute it. Go defeat your bosses because you're actually going to need a lot of this. You're actually going to need to invest a lot of stamina to get all of this stuff. Now, in order for you to increase your talent level to 6 at least, which is what I find reasonable, because you're going to need a lot more materials to level them up to level 10. But that requires materials that you can only get like once a week. Also, at level 10, you're going to require a crown, so that's going to be up to you. I don't really know if you really want to go all the way for Xiao, but if that is the case, that is for you to decide. So for now, up to level 6, this is what you are going to require. 18 slime condensate and 66 slime secretions, along with 9 teaching of prosperity and 63 guides to prosperity. The talent books that you require for Xiao are going to be dropping on the Taishan Mansion on Monday, Thursday, and Sunday. And in order for you to level up all of your talents, you're going to need at least 368,000 mora. This is the total amount of resources that you're going to be needing in order for level up Xiao to level 90 and get all of your talents to level 6. With this, we would basically be finishing our character if you don't really go past the level 6 on talents, of course. So this is the amount of stuff that you're gonna need. So in order to build Xiao, you're gonna need 2 Viridescent pieces and also 2 pieces of Gladiator set. Why? Because of the skills of Xiao. Xiao really is trying to use the ultimate so that you can do plunge attack left and right. And also your E does a lot of anemo damage, right? So you're going to be getting a really nice buff in damage from the 15% anemo from Viridescent. From Gladiator set, you're going to be getting attack plus 18%, which is a really nice boost to damage that Xiao is going to be doing. The reason why you don't want to use the full set for Viridescent is because the 4 set piece effect is not really going to decrease the resistance to swirl. So I believe you don't really get a lot from this, although you can make it work, I guess. You can probably get a character like Xingshu and do damage over time and everything and activate swirl several times, but I think the best way to make your Xiao do the most damage is just be the selfish DPS that he is supposed to be, right? So, and also when it comes down to the Gladiator set, you don't really want to use the 4 set piece effect because this doesn't really affect plunge damage. So it's worthless. It's worthless. It's not necessarily worthless because you can still do a lot of damage with normal attacks from Xiao, but while you're doing your ultimate, you're losing all the damage that you could possibly do from this 35%, right? So at the end of the day, if you get 18%, is way better than just getting nothing at the time when you're using your ultimate. So that is the reason why I believe Viridescent and Gladiator, 2 pieces of each, is going to be the best possible combination as of right now, right? So when it comes down to the substats in your artifacts that you should be looking for, I think critical damage and crit rate are the best ones, particularly critical damage. As you can see with my D-Look, I have a plume that has a lot of critical rate, right? And it is all nice and dandy, but you need critical damage because Xiao is getting passive critical rate from leveling up. It's the exact same thing when it comes down to the flower. You need critical damage. Try to focus on every single one of your items to have critical damage in the substats, except of course the hat. But for example, in here, critical damage and critical rate is just amazing. Same for the plume. Of course, when it comes down to the sands, you should be aiming for a main stat attack percentage. And also, as I said, critical damage and then critical rate. And when it comes down to the circlet, the hat, you need critical damage, for main stat. Of course, here you should have anything like attack percentage or critical rate. Now, here's the deal. Here's the deal. The problem with the goblet is that it is the hardest piece to get. Like, as you can see, I have many goblets and everything, but most of them are not the right combination, right? For example, this cryo goblet is not really getting any cryo damage, right? So it's nice, but it's not the best that it could possibly be. And the problem is that getting the combination of the goblet plus the element that you want is really hard. And make it even worse when you're looking for a particular substats is way too much. In order to battle the RNG when it comes down to that, you really need to don't really worry that much about the particular goblet that you're going to be using. So let it be whatever it is. Like, for example, with my Ningguang, I have this particular goblet that I'm using in order to increase the geo damage. And as you can see, I don't really have any good substats for her at all. But the problem is I don't really have any geo damage goblets at all. Like, the other one that I have is this one, but it's not really that great either, so it doesn't really matter. I'm already fighting the RNG to get the geo damage, to get it on a 5-star goblet, and also trying to get good stats in the substats. So I'm going to recommend you that you don't really worry that much about the goblet. Just get the best anemo one that you have, and try to get the pieces from Gladiator and Bridescent when it comes down to all the other artifacts. Unless you are really lucky and you get either a good Bridescent Nemo or a good Gladiator's Nemo, just try to make it the best that you can, right? Because it's going to be the hardest piece for you to get. Now, here's the biggest problem that you have in order for your Xiao to do a lot of damage, and it is the weapon. There's not really that many great weapons as free to play when it comes down to spear characters. So the best weapon that you can give Xiao is the Primordial Jade. But the problem is that is a 5-star weapon, right? So it's going to be very difficult for you if you're afraid to play, when what you want to do is really save your stuff for characters. All your primogems and your wishes and everything should be saved for characters, simply because you want more characters, you want more fun, right? And the weapon is making your character stronger, but you can do that with some other weapons if you don't really want to be like super ultra meta and everything. So that is the reason why I'm telling you the best one is Primordial Jade, but that is not really feasible for free to play. So the best thing that you can do is take your other best options, which aren't that great either. Why? Because you're gonna need to sacrifice some resources that maybe you don't have. First of all, the best weapon for free to play that I think you can get is Deathmatch. And you're gonna say, well, that is not really free to play, because in order for you to get Deathmatch, you need to spend on the Battle Pass. Yes, I made a video previously where I'm telling you that, yeah, if you're free to play, I think that the best thing that you can do is invest on the Battle Pass at least once, so that you can get the best weapon for one of your characters that you are like really excited for. In this case, Xiao, because it's like possibly the best weapon that you can get for him if you are not willing to invest on the gacha system. And by getting the deathmatch, you're going to be able to get a lot of good stats and a really good weapon that's going to make use of the resources that you invest on it, because of course leveling up a weapon is also very expensive. So if you don't want to invest on the Battle Pass and you want to be strictly free to play, the problem is that you're going to need to use this Masterless Star Glider, and you're going to need to wait for either Blackcliff Pool or the Royal Spear. I think the Royal Spear is better, but I really think it's not that great. Believe me, I think that really, in order for you to do your best damage while spending the least amount of money on the game, it is by buying the Battle Pass and getting one deathmatch, and then you can have a Xiao that does a lot of damage, even if you're not a whale. But of course, if you don't really want to do that, you have Blackcliff and you also have the Royal Spear. But of course, it will depend whether or not you have Masterless Star Glider, which I think if you have been saving all of your primogems, you will simply not be able to. So it's kind of difficult. It's a tricky situation. Otherwise, if you don't really want to invest at all, you don't have a Star Glider, you're not willing to buy the Battle Pass, I think that using a Favonius Lance is going to be a good option. That's so you can get a lot of energy so that you can actually spam your ultimate, right? Yeah, in general, I'm telling you, for Xiao, it's going to be very difficult for you as free to play to really get a lot of damage out of him, because the options that you have as free to play are not that wide. And also another problem is that the way in which you have to build this character is going to be very specific, I guess. it is either critical rate or critical damage. And there's not that many spears that have critical damage or critical rate that are free to play. So the reason why I believe that getting deathmatch along with your Xiao is probably the best option that you can have is because the critical rate combination from deathmatch and also your Xiao is going to be up to 61%, which is a lot of critical rate, dude. You're 9 away from the golden ratio, which is 70. And the passive, of course, on deathmatch is really good. So at least when it comes down to making your Xiao as strong as it can possibly be without really spending or being a whale, I think those are the options that you have. All right, so I think that's how you make your Xiao OP on day one. And I'm Bruce with G. See you in the next one.